The anti-abortion campaigner Livia Tossici-Bolt has been found guilty at Poole Magistrates Court of 2 charges of breaching a buffer zone outside an abortion clinic in...
Welcome to another day in 1984 Britain, where this lady has been found guilty and is now a convicted criminal with a huge fine of 20 grand for the crime of... holding a sign that says "Here to talk if you want" outside an abortion clinic. Not pestering anyone, not shouting at them, not going up to them, just holding a sign saying "Here to talk if you want to." Unbelievable.
Bournemouth, the 64-year-old anti-abortion campaigner held a sign that said "Here to talk." The case has drawn international attention, most notably from the US and the Trump administration, who issued a statement saying it was concerned and monitoring the case. This is what the US Vice President J.D. Vance had to say about it back in February.
I look to our very dear friends, the United Kingdom, where the backslide away from conscience rights has placed the basic liberties of religious Britons in particular in the crosshairs. A little over 2 years ago, the British government charged Adam Smith Connor, a 51-year-old physiotherapist and an Army veteran, with the heinous crime of standing 50 meters from an abortion clinic and silently praying for 3 minutes. Not obstructing anyone, not interacting with anyone, just silently praying on his own. Now, I wish I could say that this was a fluke, a one-off crazy example of a badly written law being enacted against a single person. But no, this last October, just a few months ago, the Scottish government began distributing letters to citizens whose houses lay within so-called safe access zones, warning them that even private prayer within their own homes may amount to breaking the law. Naturally, the government urged readers to report any fellow citizens suspected guilty of thought crime. In Britain and across Europe,
that's just absolutely terrifying, isn't it? I mean, I remember studying Nazi Germany in school, where people were being told to snitch on the people in their household, to snitch on private conversations at home, and tell, the Stasi to lock them up for their speech, anything that challenged the Führer or anything, you should report it. They were indoctrinating little kids to report on their parents' conversations at home. Is just beyond belief, the world that we are living in right now. So this is the lady who was convicted today at Poole Magistrates Court. That is the sign that she held outside an abortion clinic. Now, you guys tell me in the comments whether you think it was right for her to be convicted or not. So we have these buffer zone policies where you're not allowed to protest within a certain certain distance of an abortion clinic, and presumably that is so that people are not, say, hounded and very distressed on the way in to an abortion clinic. They're probably very stressed out enough as it is going to such a place, and they might feel that it's not right for there to be a huge campaign, huge protest right outside the door. But this lady argued in court that she was not protesting, she was simply offering consensual conversation. She wasn't, there's no point of view written on this, this sign that she's holding up. She's not pushing anything down people's throats. She wasn't actually actively talking to people who had not come her way. It simply says "Here to talk if you want," simply offering a consensual conversation. Here is a photo of her outside the court today. As you can see, very emotional there, very distressing day for her. Let's take a look at the details of this conviction. It's pretty shocking. I think even if you think it was right for her to have been, say, given a slap on the wrist for breaching this buffer zone, I think for her to be given a criminal conviction and having to pay 20 grand, I doubt this woman's rich and has that stuff just lying around. I think it's very, very harsh. I think this is concerning for free speech. So Livia Tossici-Bolt, 64, praised the Trump administration for its support as she was handed a 2-year conditional charge and ordered to pay $20,000 in costs for breaching a ban on protests in a protected buffer zone around the BPAS facility in Bournemouth. She's a dual UK-Italian citizen and a mother of 3. She stood outside the clinic holding that sign that I just showed you, and the judge said that she was not lawfully exercising her rights of freedom of expression under Article 10 of the ECHR. So the US, as we have alluded to earlier, has been quite involved in this case. And when we've had this discussion about whether we're going to get a free trade deal, whether we're going to have tariffs or not, it was being reported in the Telegraph that there were, strong hints from the US that, particularly with relation to this case, you must honour free speech in the UK. You must sort out this mess, give people their right to free speech back, else no free trade deal. But very sadly, despite that pressure from the US, this lady has been convicted. I mean, not that it would be difficult and probably considered inappropriate if Keir Starmer were to, as a politician, be putting pressure on, say, an independent judge to make a decision in a certain way for the purpose of a trade deal. But something needs to be done about free speech in the UK. Something needs to be done about activist judges. Something needs to be done to sort out the coppers, who are more interested in policing Facebook posts than they are actually policing the streets and proper crime, right? That stuff takes time to sort out, given this anti-free speech mentality is embedded into so many of our institutions in the UK. But I don't see Starmer really doing anything to try and change that, which I think is quite disappointing. Anyway, so the US State Department is understood to have contacted a pro-life Christian charity asking to speak to campaigners who have suffered from censorship of their views. We also saw US State Department in the trade negotiations making comments about this particular case and their concerns about free speech in the UK in general. Let's take a look at the comment of this activist herself after she was convicted. She said that it is a dark day for Britain. She said, "I wasn't protesting and I did not harass or obstruct anyone. All I did was offer consensual conversation in a public place, as is my basic right, and yet the court found me guilty. Freedom of expression is in a state of crisis in the UK. What has happened to this country? The US State Department was right to be concerned by this case, as it has serious implications for the entire Western world." So there we go. Very interesting comments from her. I feel so sorry for this lady. Let me know in the comments what you think about this case, whether you think it was right or wrong for her to have been convicted. I think if you think that even if you think her being convicted was appropriate, given she had breached that buffer zone outside the abortion clinic, I think we can probably all agree that the punishment she's having to face is quite harsh for simply holding up a sign that says "here to talk if you want." Crazy times we're living in. Anyway, I'm Chloe Dobbs. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to the Reason channel.